And good afternoon, everyone. I'm John O'Loughlin, and welcome to my channel. It's called McDuff_2020, broadcasting once again from the Charette on Mystery Island, Maryland. And we're here to update. I want to get updated from George. I haven't seen him since early last night. And I know he's been working very, very hard with Andy and with Addie and a number of other people to get as much intelligence as we can together and share it with you this morning. So without further ado, George Webb.
Well, everyone's talking about Nancy's laptops that were removed from the Capitol. So some Senate laptops apparently, and Nancy Pelosi as well with the Speaker of the House. We don't know exactly whose laptops yet. We've heard numbers of 20, and this is so reminiscent of Imran Awan stealing the 20 laptops and the 20 BlackBerries after the 2016 elections. So now the election ops are over in 2020. Now we have the 20 laptops going out yesterday, and so this diversion, sort of this, the show, the rodeo clowns, the buffalo hat guy. It seems like it was a diversion to get these laptops out. And Ann Vandersteel did a good show. I also put it on last night if you haven't seen it. And it'll show you these guys marching out with the laptops.
Oh.
And I also, well, here's first the shooting, which...
You need to reconnect that.
Oh, I need to reconnect.
Yeah, because...
Okay, hold on.
We had a little internet glitch and we are back, but reconnecting our camera here to show you what George has. There you go. Now go back over to your...
Oh, go back. Okay. I will go to my switcher here, excuse me, my Twitter. And this is just the Babbitt girl. You can see the gun. You see her climb up in the window, and there she gets shot. She goes down.
All right, we're not live yet, George.
Oh.
All right, and here we go. All right, you're good.
Okay, here we go.
Oops, you turned it.
Now, I'll show it again here. You'll see her climb into the window, and you'll notice she's flanked by two guards, both with long rifles, which usually guards don't help people climb into the Senate. And then there's also a Senate staffer standing right next to her. So you'll see that in the film. You go to my Twitter and see these. But see the officers right next to her? Usually those people are on the other side. And they're pointing guns inside at the people inside the Senate. That also doesn't make any sense. Why are they not on the other side keeping people from coming in? Why are they hoisting her into the window? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Right?
They hoisted her?
Well, they're standing right next to her, and they catch her when she falls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can watch it again here. So there she goes. So it's just odd that there's three people that are supposedly defending the vestibule there between the Senate and the House, right? The Speaker of the House's area. And it just happens to be Nancy Pelosi's area. So that's the first shot that you'll see. And then you'll see the second one that I posted. This is when do Patsies find out they're a Patsy? And that's right there when they find out. And then you'll see... also, there were some pipe bombs found, but here I'll play the Ann Vandersteel segment right now.
Al, did you see the open of our show when we had video of the guys coming down the stairs with what looked like laptops underneath their hoodies? Did you see that?
Okay, this is Ann Vandersteel's show last night, and they're talking about these laptops that were removed from Nancy Pelosi's office. Yeah, so here they're talking about the laptops. You can see the one guy looks like he's pregnant with 20 laptops, the first guy. Someone's already identified him as Eric Prince's son. I don't know that to be true, but we'll have to ask Eric Prince and Eric Prince's son where they were. We have had election operations out of Norfolk before in 2016. So there's some Trump folks that are saying, oh, Trump has the laptops now, but I say it's Nancy's folks getting the laptops out because that was what happened in 2016. We're on the same team here. We want to find out who ran this op. Was it the folks out of Norfolk like 2016? You remember me going to Blackwater right across the border, or was it somebody else? But I go on to say here that all this terabytes to Pakistan would be cover the coronavirus program, the Desto DARPA coronavirus terabytes. Again, why do they buy a pharmaceutical lab? Why does Rahm Emanuel and Imran buy a pharmaceutical lab and send terabytes to it if it's not to develop something for one of the programs? I'm just saying, if you now have a robbery and this is taken, you blame it again on Trump, and there goes all the evidence. Same thing happened with Debbie Wasserman Schultz's laptop, if you remember, when the prosecution sent the DWS laptop back to the defense to be seen nevermore.
George, when you said we're on the same side, I wasn't sure who you're talking about. You had mentioned Eric Prince's son a little while ago. I don't think we're on the same side with Eric Prince's son, or are we?
No. Mel K and Ann Vandersteel are saying it's the Trump people that got the laptops. I'm on the same side as Mel K and Ann Vandersteel. If we differ slightly about who we think ran the op, that doesn't mean anything. We're still on the same side. I'm not trying to knock down their story. I'm saying that the laptops were taken. The guy is pregnant with 20 laptops. I just have people that have told me that Eric Prince's son was there, and that was him. So I'm based on past experience with Hunter Biden, the laptop coming out of Norfolk, NATO Act. That's the first people I look to is who ran the last op. That's a very select group of how many military folks get to run ops on Capitol Hill. So I usually think it's the same guys as the last time. That's just me and my kind of search algorithm. But if there's a different person they bring forward, great.
Well, is anybody going to be brought forward? Will we ever see those laptops for real? I think everybody right now is very, very confused by the president apparently standing down, taking a little time maybe to plan his next moves, but at the same time coming out and with almost a hangdog look, in my humble opinion, saying that that there is going to be a new administration on January 20th. On the other hand, tons of people are saying to me, John, you got to listen to that again. Listen again. Well, I don't know how many times I have to listen to him say that it's going to be a new administration on January 20th to believe that that's what he's saying. But, George, have you picked up anything that indicates that the president is continuing this fight?
No, he said he's not going to the inauguration. If it was being inaugurated, I think he would have to attend. So he wouldn't boycott his own inauguration. So I think he means Joe Biden's inauguration. And I don't think any of the normal entourage that goes are going to go. But it's going to be televised anyway. So there's not going to be a live inauguration event where they're tearing down the review stands. They'd already torn them down when we were up there yesterday. So, I don't want to be one of these guys who says trust anybody. And I've gone through 4 years of this: trust the plan, trust Barr, trust Sessions, trust, all these different people. And I kept saying, no, trust your phone. Trust you and your fingers typing compound searches. The easiest thing you can do right now is tweet out to Eric Prince Jr., hey, heard a rumor that you were at the Capitol. True or not true? Where were you? Did you watch it from Seychelles or did you watch it from Qatar?
You meant to say Prince, right?
Eric Prince, yeah. Where were you? Where was Eric Prince? I know Eric Prince had a connection to Liz Cheney in the basement of the White House. I know that's been a long time, sort of the Iran-Contra channel train that she runs out of there on the Republican side. So the first place I look for the Republican operatives, the Rhino operatives, is to Blackwater, the primary beneficiaries of the last 20 years of all the pork from Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. and then you have Pompeo out saying that he's going to shut down all travel to the CCP. Well, is that so none of the whistleblowers can come here and talk about all the joint ventures with the Bidens? There's too many Biden BlackBerries out there now, guys. We have Bob Ulinsky showing us James Biden's BlackBerry, Joe Biden's BlackBerry, and Hunter Biden's BlackBerry. Who else needs to come up with a BlackBerry? Jill? Do we have to show Jill's BlackBerry too? We know they use encrypted communications to do deals with the Chinese. Stop, Mike Pompeo, stop pointing the finger at CCP. It's not a person. CCP is not a person. There's no evidence around CCP. You got to go with people, organizations, places, events, and things.
What you're saying kind of confirms what Fletcher Prouty said in his first book back in 1972, I think it was. No, 77. Anyway, his first book, and he said, the age of nation states is past, and we now have a world that's connected, and you can't have these national barriers anymore because of commerce. We've gone far beyond the day when we can just close our borders to foreign commerce. So, in a sense, their idea of a new world with a new world order is exactly what we're looking at. Starting January 20th, George. It gives me a very, very creepy feeling to think that the president is standing down. All of these people that are in the shadow cabinet now are going to have power, and it's not looking good for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, thank goodness, John, there was a journalist out there who wrote about 20 laptops and 20 BlackBerries being used to take over a country in a coup. And run actually several counter coups, and I wrote that book, George Webb, BlackBerries Matter, and rewriting it currently. And I think this is a template for the 2020. This is what really happened beneath the scenes. You had 3 police officers who supposedly had heart attacks. I could see 1 police officer having a heart attack. I could see 2, 3, really? I think those are whistleblowers saying, hey, there was people with military IDs showing their military IDs to get into the Capitol. And, hey, all of a sudden that person has a heart attack. I just think that's a lot of heart attacks. 1, maybe. 3, that's a lot.
You're suggesting that they did have heart attacks, but that they were perhaps coordinated by one of those weapons that we heard about in the church committee?
Look at your dad. I mean, that was a heart attack gun. I mean, I'm just saying, I think 3 is a lot.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if there was 3,
Fair enough.
And then the pipe bombs. Immediately, I said, look for the Blackwater guys. I filmed the orange caps. Look for the orange caps and the Blackwater orange caps. That's going to be the same guys who plant the pipe bombs. Because what you do is you put one pipe bomb at one end. The Blackwater orange hats are going to put one at one end of the Capitol, and they're going to put one at the other. What's going to happen? All the law enforcement is going to go to those pipe bombs, right? It's a diversionary tactic. And they supposedly found 5 handguns. Imagine out of 1 million people, all Second Amendment people, and there was no guns that they've associated. And they film a guy. The FBI puts out a picture of a guy who looks like the guy pregnant with the 20 laptops. So I'm not saying it's Blackwater. I'm not saying it's Norfolk again. But I don't think it's BlackBerries this time. I think it's Green Zone phones or some other next generation encryption. But I'm just saying these operations are run by Blackwater types wanting to protect their interest and stake in the pork of Capitol Hill.
If they've got the most sophisticated computers, the ones that run faster than anybody else's and can crunch more data than anybody else's, then it makes it pretty hard to get a hold of it and then to try to crack it, because by the time you get a hold of it, they've seen you get a hold of it, and they're going to switch their routines around. And that's really, I guess, the most frustrating part about this, because you've been studying the BlackBerries for at least 4 years. You see that that's what's going on, these secret communications. You pointed out to Trump and other people in the administration, big-time journalists, and nothing happens.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I did said I sell 10,000 books when I, writing in less than 6 months. I think that's because America wants to know the truth, and the truth has a way of getting itself out. We talked last night about getting Beatles records into Russia during communism. They seem to produce those in the millions, even though they were being produced in the basement of, Boris's, health club or whatever. So the truth has a way of getting out. And this is what I'm saying, by doing the network analysis of who did it the last time in the last election is the best template. I'm not saying it's the truth, but it's the best template to view this set of evidence. And what I see right now is a lot of people shooting rockets off in different directions and not looking at things through a template. And so this book gives you the template. I mean, it tells you not only how the election operations are run, but how the wars are run through this same template. And just think about it. Cui bono, who benefits Blackwater, right? So if we are going to go back to war in Syria and hire a whole bunch of mercenaries that have been trained down at the academy in Norfolk, or just across the border in Norfolk, it's going to be Blackwater. Look at what happened in the Iraq War, where we went from 3 soldiers to every contractor to then 1 soldier to 10 contractors. And Blackwater. And when I say Blackwater, I don't just mean Blackwater. I mean Carlyle Group, Black Rock Investments, because they want to put their money back into dark weapons and so forth. But it's this dark weapons lobby that usually is the first suspect if you're going to be rounding up usual suspects.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Carlyle Group, and I just think of all the money that they've made off of these wars, and they've got quite a war chest. That's another thing that I'm concerned about. Is it's kind of like studying the Rockefellers or the Vanderbilt or somebody like that. These folks have got unlimited financing, so it's just a matter of time, unless there's a law that comes in and says, you have to do fair trade practices. There's no law about fair trade practices that's going to protect the election. I think they're going to do whatever they need to do, and they're going to keep on doing it, just like Grant. Grant goes to Richmond. He hangs on to the opposition until the opposition is worn down, and to the point where they're just hiding in the caves and in the trenches around Petersburg and Richmond, where they ultimately, got kettled.
Kettled, yeah. Well, you mentioned, the encrypted, breaking the code and everything with the encryption. And just to show you how important looking at things with a template or a key are, remember those old keys where they would hide some animal in a whole bunch of dots, and then once you connected the dots, you could see the animal when you were a kid. That's the idea of, hey, the orange hats, that's the Antifa contractors. They're the ones who sucked everybody in and started the false flag. The beautiful piece of that is they were depending on millions of people being in Washington, all going around in different directions, and nobody picking up the subtle difference between that red-orange and the red, MAGA, right? They were hoping those would blend in. But once you see them and see the difference in the color, you'll immediately go, oh, that is them. And now the facial recognition will start zeroing in on those 50 guys. Now, luckily, Addie and I saw it with our own eyes developing, and we saw the group forming on that grassy knoll there and saw all 50 of them. And so we didn't have to pick them out later. But now all these folks who are thousands and thousands of people with cameras are going to go back and look and go, oh my God, you're right. That guy was over... he was with David Hogg when David Hogg was writing by the Stoneman Douglas High School, and they had the shooting in Florida. Oh, he was with David Hogg when he was writing by the, Sandy Hook. You're going to see these people popping up, even though they wore masks and so forth. If it is true that Eric Prince Jr. was there and he was identified through his eyebrow arches, we have a big story coming. We have a big story, because now we can just hone in right on Blackwater contractors.
Well, George, January 6th, the big event has come and gone, and we're still picking through the wreckage to find clues. What are your plans for the next few days?
Well, we're upgrading our analysis. There's two things: collection and analysis. Collection, we're looking at more mobile light cameras that have 64 megapixel for $300, and just amazing new technology. And then I'm looking at extending the people here at the Charette. We're doing such great intelligence work here at the Charette. I'm looking at extending this maybe for 3 days or 5 days. This is our battleship Potemkin, right, for our country. This is our 10 days of red in October. This is our people climbing the gates at Leningrad, right? Only this time, instead of just having to take what's his name's word for it, John Reed's word for it in Dr. Zhivago, we have oodles, terabytes of evidence, and that's what's beautiful. It's a virtuous cycle: collection, analysis, collection, analysis. When this analysis starts on these orange hats, you're going to see just like a blooming garden of insights that come from this.
Well, that's great, George. You are the Energizer Bunny. You don't quit, and it's not about quitting. It's about revealing the truth. That's what journalism is all about, and you are showing people how to be a real journalist on the street, a real journalist getting in touch with people, filing if necessary, whatever litigation might come along, and taking care of the details. You must be working 15, 20 hours a day, and I can't express enough appreciation for the job that you're doing. I'm going to ask you if I can bring into the show Andy DiBala, who's here, because I've been so impressed with Andy and his work as a oops, George, I'm going to leave.
Oh, you're going to leave?
Yeah, I'm going to leave. I want you and Andy. So that's what I was going to building up to. I was going to say I like to hear an interchange between Andy and George Webb. So maybe if you could take my chair, Andy, and I'm going to bow out for a couple minutes.
Well, John, thank you. One of the fantastic things that happens. Are you all settled?
It's an honor to wear the McDuff headphones, and be on the show. Some may call me a poser right now, but it feels good.
A poser. Andy can shoot better than me. He can jump higher. And I got you a few inches of height and a few inches of girth, but man, he's a great athlete. And what an arm as a quarterback. Oh my God. When the ladies see you throw that ball, they're going to all want it. They're all swooning. But anyway, I wanted to say that the truly incredible things happen when you come to these charrettes, and I think we had 14 or 15 people here around the grounds last night, all socially distancing beautifully. Mm-hmm. It was perfect.
We abide by the rules,
I won't say his name. I won't say Tom's name, but Tom came forward this morning, and I wouldn't use the last name. But he came forward this morning and he goes, I wanted to buy you guys a camera, and because I thought about all of the importance of what you're saying about this collection. If you don't collect it, you can't analyze it. And, I was going to buy you guys a camera, but I want to get you guys now, even better camera. Mm-hmm. And then, this all happened within a couple of seconds before the show.
Yeah, he just woke up and was like, he was already talking about Tom. I will say has a lot of passion, and he's a true patriot, and he actually cares.
And he brought you here, which is also important.
He's done a lot. He picked up Addie and I in Gettysburg, and he brought us here. He throws some money in our pockets so we can survive on a daily basis, and he's just really passionate about the content and the product we're putting out, because he believes that we're hovering above the target and we're hot on some leads, and he realizes that, like, when you sit here and you actually come and you show up to the actual events, it changes your perspective more than just watching from a distance online, and it makes it more real, and it puts everything into perspective a little bit better, and that's why he's he's donating not only his time but his money and his retirement to a better America, and we appreciate patriots like that.
Absolutely. And we are expanding out to a third house now, and on the island, and you get network effects. So 1 + 1 isn't just 1. When you add one person, you have that one person's interactions with n number of people. So you get, a plus 12 additive, so every additional person, it's like the internet, you get network effects, which is great. And one of the network effects that we got was everyone knows we have a big jet pilot here. She had a lot of years, and we won't use her name or say where she lives, but she had a lot of years flying some big stuff, the big Boeings. And so it's nice to be able to talk to somebody, but her daughter is in creative production.
Yeah,
as well.
She was actually the one that pointed us in the directions of the little handheld cameras we're about to be purchasing. So you guys can get. I mean, George, you look good on the little gimbals with the iPhone 11, but when you get George in 4K, it changes the game.
It changes the nose hairs. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
you get the nose hairs in every real color. You're not going to get an arbitrary. No, what we're going to do is, I think we're going to do a composite character of about 5 or 6 citizen journalists. And so you have to pick one character, and we want to shoot this in a reenactment mode, so that we can actually tell the story of the 4 years, kind of comparing the 20 laptops and the 20 BlackBerries of the 2016 Pelosi spy ring to this new 2021, which seems to have some Blackwater overtones that seem to be kind of farmed out and contracted. And we want to tell that story in a kind of a easy to understand reenactment, like those murder shows on Saturday night where they take you through it. And then they present all the evidence. And
I'm sure I'll just interrupt you a little bit.
Sure.
Because the information you do give us, like just meeting you, and you always say just let it wash over you, soak it in. And when you do make little videos like we're talking about, and you can throw in little clips that add some excitement to it, you can understand it a little bit more and a little bit faster. So we're looking to break that barrier a little bit, because I know just by reading your books and listening to the shows, it's like it takes a long time to be able to comprehend stuff when you're a dummy like me. So,
well, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and a good movie is worth millions. And it's so much easier just to show you the action. So we needed a reenactment camera, and for that we wanted to have I wanted to be calling Addie, if he's going to be the actor, if he's going to be the one standing in for this composite of characters.
After the Prather boot camp, right?
Well, we'll have a before ab shot, and we'll probably use mine, and then we'll use the after ab shot after he goes to the Prather camp. But we're going to put some rope climbs out here and some climbing gyms and so forth, and Addie get him out there with a weight rope, and we'll probably line him up with a couple of WWF fights, 1 or 2 weight classes above where he normally fights.
Yeah.
And we'll get him primed for this role. Believe me, the ladies are going to be happy, with the final product.
The real question is haircut or no haircut?
Oh God, you cut his hair. That's like Samson. No. Now, could you use a little product? Yes, you could use a little product. I mean, ladies, I'm telling you, regular Irish Spring is not the best to bring out that shine.
No, it is.
I don't think it is.
I know us guys like to use regular body soap in their hair, and they're trying to change that. But we're
as soon as the ladies
ways.
Find that out, oh my God, you'll get mail coming in from everywhere. So I just wanted to say, just speaking to Tom, he woke up with kind of a really one of those feelings. He said, I'm supporting what you guys do, and I know who it's going to. And I don't want George to see a dime. I don't trust that guy. No, he didn't say that.
It's like, Andy, you handle it all.
but yeah, I said, you go directly to Andy. I don't want to be the guy who gets accused of being a grifter, because, yeah, and everybody who's here knows that, I'm not doing that. So, but
I wouldn't be here if you were, George.
Yeah, and I've been with you a long time now. And Aaron back there in Michigan and so forth. We're just all trying to get this story out and do this analysis as fast as we can. And John asked me about, am I depressed or how do I feel after 4 years of trying to get this network exposed? And I feel like we've gone light years. I feel like I've done 3 years of work in about 18 hours. We're already down to Norfolk, NATO Act, going across the border there. Were you with me? No, you didn't go to Academy with me.
I did not.
You did not. Okay, I can't remember who I was with. But anyway, you have to use NATO for these ops because you can't have people in the United States attached to the United States run an op against the president of the United States. That's treason. Mm-hmm. But if you go outside the country and use a NATO operative, like they did with Christopher Steele in the 2016 with the dossier, then that's okay. That's called a liaison operation, right? So again, we don't know that it's Eric Prince's son. We don't have that data yet, but we do have this NATO Act history, and pattern and practice is a key. So we're already a day into this. Like I've written this second book already in my mind. It's exactly how it happened. Now I think it's green zone phones. I think it's Android, just going on past practices. But this is when people at, let's say, NSA, or people who aren't compromised in the FBI, or people in the CIA on the analysis side, I saw Brad Johnson on last night. When they look at this, they go, hey, wait a minute, this is a pattern. And that is the key to finding the needle in the haystack. John, are you coming back?
Well, George, I have something I wanted to give you, and so hang on, Andy.
Cash?
Because you guys have been so great in terms of talking about my dad's story, Macduff, and as I go through the materials that I have, I find newer and more interesting things, and so this is something I wanted to give to you, George. It's the official real certificate from Fort Bragg, what you were just talking about, when my father attended some classes there, and he got a certificate. So I thought you might want to have an image of that for your research purposes, and also just to document it.
Well, this will take about.
That is awesome.
Thank you, John. This will take about 7 seconds to make it into the new version. Addie's already putting it in now. He's photo retouching this now. And so that's already going to be we will put that in the book. Ads, give me a head shake. Yeah, he's giving me a head shake back there. That we're going to put that in the book in the addendum, just to show. I think, John, the reason why I put so much.
How to show it on screen.
Yeah. Okay. The reason why I put so much into the bona fides for John is we had all these attackers. We had all these attackers saying, oh, John O'Loughlin, he never was in the FBI. He never was in Special Forces. He never did this. And
there's your Fort Bragg certificate right there.
Boom.
Can't get more proof than that,
And, John, and the cover of the new color version of this book is John O'Loughlin's, and I've sold a whole bunch of colored copies already. The color versions, the $20 one, I didn't think I'd sell any because there was people who said...
You underestimate your talent.
No, I underestimate the demand for the color. I thought everybody's going to buy the $4 one, but I'll do it because a couple people said they wanted all the color. Mm-hmm. And but John O'Loughlin's military ID to say, I get in any situation. Any kind of emergency situation, you must let me in. Mm-hmm. And I just thought of that yesterday. If he hadn't given me that before I heard these cops, DC cops talking about military ID was shown. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I heard the 3 cops all died of heart attacks, I said, are those the 3 cops that let out the thing?
Yeah, that are showing their military ID to get in. During the broadcast, I was actually asking you guys if they were Black Boot Antifa. Are these guys the Black Boot Antifas? And you guys weren't 100% sure, but you were very positive on them being the orange hat. They're up on the hill. They're acting crazy. Tom noticed that because usually when you go to an event, a big event like that, and you take time to make a sign or you take time to dress up and stuff, you're not dropping your items and running away because you want to take that home and put that on. That was the thing I went to the sign I made for the Trump event. stuff everywhere, all over the hill, right before they start rushing the gates. So
Yeah,
it
well-
definitely was a coordinated attack on the Capitol building.
Yeah, and Tom actually had a friend, and I don't want to get anybody killed, but I mean, he had an FBI report of 2 buses with 50 people being dropped off, and I did see a whole bunch of people piling out. Like in Charlottesville, we had the situation where people were piling out, and literally going, "Am I a white supremacist today, or am I a counter protester? Am I Antifa today?" And they would give them shirts depending on which role they were going to play.
Yep.
It was one of those kind of spilling out of the things. And they all went over to this grassy knoll, and they were all hitting, looked like, not meth pipe, but it looked like they were juicing.
Yeah.
And they were getting there.
They're vaping up.
Yeah, and they were juicing up, and then they all simultaneously pulled in their pockets and reached out and grabbed their orange caps. And Prather, if you haven't watched Jeff Prather, I mean, he'll tell you, he runs these. He was at Fort Bragg. He ran PsyOps. He was in 4th Psych Ops Brigade. You say you do that because you want to know everybody who's on your team, and you don't want anybody else to know, and you don't want cops shooting you. If you're running an op, you want to go in right before the op and tell the guys on the Capitol Hill snipers. And we talked to a guy whose son was a Capitol Hill sniper.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yeah.
I think. Did we broadcast that?
I believe that was on the show. It's hard to say because some of it was a little sketchy because it was going in and out. And I'm not 100% if
Well,
that
right when
one
I'm
was one.
talking to Ann Vandersteel, the guy says, "Hey, don't worry about the snipers. They are all your friends. They're not going to shoot you." And I'm, why are you telling the crowd that? "Oh, that's my son up there. They're not going to shoot you." So if you go, they're trying to tell the crowd that there's no penalty for going through the barricades.
Okay.
Right? And I'm like, why would you be telling us that? And why are they all hovering around me as media than just watching this stuff?
Yeah.
What gives?
John made a great point on Twitter. He's like, all you need is a good water cannon out front, and that would have literally stopped the entire thing. And
Taser, maybe?
a taser, and
You
you just see people waving them through. The one black cop inside the building that was like kind of swinging his baton at them as they're like charging up the stairs. It's almost laughable, the security measures they were going through to protect the Capitol building while they're voting for the next the Electoral College. So it's like if that's how they run stuff on an everyday basis, then either the Capitol building police chief, I saw he resigned this morning, but he needs to be fired, or we need to really start revamping things. And
I sat there and looked at Kelly Loeffler and Pooler there, and Purdue, and Kelly Loeffler. And in Dalton, she said the same thing. "I'm voting against this thing. I'm going to throw it into the debate." And the debate was going to be at least 4 hours. Some said the debate would be 4 hours per state to consider the evidence.
Yeah.
So this was going to be the world court that was going to be splayed out.
huge moment.
And then what do? You pull the fire alarm. It's like the kid who didn't study for the math test in junior high. He pulls the fire alarm.
Yeah.
And then everybody thinks about the fire, or you call in a bomb threat, and it didn't work for me. I still flunked math. No, I'm kidding. That wasn't me. I did well. I did well in school.
We at least know you pass history.
I did. I did pass history. But so Andy, you're hopefully we're gonna hopefully be able to keep you here a couple more days.
Yeah, we're going to be staying a couple days. My ride, Mr. I know he hates this nickname, but I'm going to use it on screen just to rub it in. Mr. Tom CIA. We'll release a story about how he found us, and that's the reason behind his CIA nickname, because
We had this.
he was a half an agent, I feel like.
Well, he was quite the sleuth, because we were, we had thrown out all kinds of misinformation about the Luna Pier and about 10 miles away from where we were, and dropping breadcrumbs for the people who wanted to kill us. And hey, fair enough. I had moved there and 6 weeks, and I was getting death threats from Norfolk, NATO, from the base there, from somebody from the base. Somebody tried to attract me to the base. So I think I had a right at that point to do a little misinformation, I mean, it was 10 miles. I mean, come on, it's not, but, had all these people showing up with weapons at this Luna Pier lighthouse. And people are like, ooh, it's George Webb, but anyway, but Tom found us. And, you got all these Norfolk NATO types, NATO ACT types that couldn't find us.
Yeah.
And Tom found us. So we thought he was CIA.
Yeah, that just goes to show you a lot of people are little keyboard warriors out there. So if you're actually passionate about being a citizen journalist and putting in some work, it's possible. All you do, got to pound the pavement, get a camera, do your research, and make sure you know what you're talking about. But we need more of everyone out there to do what we're doing, because they're trying to limit our speech, and it's only going to get worse. I know Facebook banned Trump completely yesterday. Supposedly he got his Twitter back up and running today. But our voices are going to be, they're going to be trying to extinguish us. So we really need more of us. The more there is, the harder it's going to be to put out the flame. So let's make that fire big and keep citizen journalism going and keep America alive and well.
And is it possible I could palm off $50 off the top of that cash that Tom gave me? I mean, just for me. I mean, just say that we bought batteries or something.
You haven't asked me for any rent to stay in this beautiful house that we're staying in, so I'm sure I could peel off a couple of dollar bills.
No, I'm kidding. I meant to say that afterwards. So, no, I really do appreciate John coming over here with all the equipment. People don't see what happens behind the screen at McDuff, but I could show you the Rodecaster here, the dynamic range microphones, the whole apparatus set up, the lighting, et cetera. And he does it around the clock for
Buy
this.
that colored copy for $20.
Yeah, okay. Well, and I still have the $4 copy out there because I thought, hey, I want to sell this for $4. I want to get this story out about this great hero. And I knew this would happen. I knew this day would come, that we would all be looking for the hero of how to go forward. And today, that day has come. And the only one left, we know that's not going to be Trump anymore, right? The only one left now is McDuff. And it's a beautiful thing, because when people come to the McDuff story and find out about this guy, they're going to be empowered. They're going to say, hey, I can do this. This guy showed me the way. And that's the beautiful story. And so if you want to buy the color version, go for it. But if you buy the $2 new version on Kindle, it's beautiful in color. You can put it on your big screen TV, and you'll love it. And it's still $2. So even if you have the old Kindle, buy this new color one. It's fantastic.
And have you guys talked about the laptops at all being supposedly taken? I know I missed a little bit of the show. I had to call my pharmacist and get my pharmaceuticals in order now that I'm staying here a couple days. But
can I put a plug in?
Yeah.
There's two little monitors where you can put your two little fingers on the monitor for the heart. And Andy's, had some heart thing.
I got such a big heart that it has caused issues with inside me.
I'm thinking of the Grinch thing where his heart grew 3 times that size. Yeah. So anyway, there's one called a Live Core. If somebody wants to sponsor Andy's $100 thing so he can not die. And then there's another one called Cardio that communicates directly to your iPhone. And you actually get the whole PQRST wave. You can see the fibrillations. You can see all the atrial malfunctions. You can get it all.
A lot of people don't know this about George, but he's in tune medically too. And he knows what he's talking about. If you could walk up to him and just be like, oh, I got a cough and a pain in my back. And he'd be like, doot, doot, doot.
Well, I think
give you a little poke in the kidney.
I think I know where I get that from. and he's a lot better than me, like when he was in 8th grade, so he's pretty damn good. And so anyway, I do think that it just like looking at an aberration in a PQRST wave is the same thing we have to do with the information that we're getting from this Blackwater op. And I don't want to I'm not trying to predestine this that we all have to think orange cap. But I do think it is a way of analyzing the patterns and doing the pattern recognition that's so critical in the analysis function. And we're learning, when you do those compound searches and somebody else calls it something else, right? Oh, thanks for the plug. I like it. It helps because it brings people into our orbit, and we don't have to have them come over to us or us go over to them. We can collaborate, which is really the cool piece. Todd, do you have something you want to say or no?
I'm just thinking.
Yeah. Well, come on in. You mind if John, can I keep it going? Okay. I took over John's show, but sometimes guys need a break. God, John's been going night and day. Incredible. So Todd, this is Todd, everyone.
Hey, George.
Step up here, brother.
Yeah.
Todd is from Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. He's an incredible patriot. God, this guy, I'm telling you, he's always doing searches. That's one thing I love about you. And you were there with us, and just give us your thoughts.
Well, I was standing quite a ways back from the Capitol building, and I was standing next to a group of guys that had camo on. And that's where I got confirmation that people were getting into the Capitol building. And he said, yeah, we're up on the steps now. And I looked at him and I said, who's we? And he said, our guys. I said, who's our guys? And he said, the Patriots. And I thought that was curious. And, you know, I should have quizzed him more to see how he knew that way back where I was, and what his experience was and why he was in camo.
Yeah.
And his friends were in camo too. He was an older gentleman, white beard and mustache, and he looked serious.
You know, and it reminded me so much. I know the people you're talking about. It's kind of like an oath keeper thing.
Yeah.
It's like when you're done with your CIA career and you can't climb the hills anymore, you become an operative and insert yourself into these different groups.
Yeah.
Like I think oath keepers is what 50% FBI guys now, informants, something huge.
Is
right?
it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was a victim of an FBI informant, so I tend to see FBI informants a little more often than other people do, But I definitely got that feeling with people coordinating, you know, looking left and looking right, checking signals. Did you get that feeling with the radios and all the stuff that they were doing?
I didn't see any of that.
You didn't see
but
it?
I did see a group of people with an Antifa flag.
Okay,
And
tell us about that.
Well, I got a photograph of them.
Oh, great. Where was that taken?
Back behind that initial barrier, way back from the Capitol building.
On the Supreme Court side or the mall side?
That would be the mall side.
The mall side, okay.
Yeah. And
You know, I saw the Antifa, when they started saying F Antifa, the orange caps, there was an Antifa flag on the other side of that white monument, that little fountain, you know where the Circle Drive is? Is that where you saw it to the right there?
I was much further back than that.
You were further back. Okay, so I was in the middle, and I saw this Antifa thing, about 6 guys, and there was a flag over there, a black and white and red flag, right? Something like that. I saw it waving, and then there's a video I posted where I said, I see a weapon. I saw a stick that this one Antifa guy was carrying. And I said, I see a weapon, and these Trump people thought I was saying that the Trump people were carrying a stick. You liar, you're media, you suck, you know, that kind of thing. But that, as soon as that Antifa flag appeared, then all these 50 guys immediately spontaneously come running down and marching down arm in arm. It looked like the King March, you know, going over the bridge in Selma. Fuck Antifa, F Antifa, F Antifa, you know. And they looked like they were like, you know, in those airplanes when they're waving you in with the 2 lights. They were going right for that barricade. And literally you could take you saw the barricades, the bicycle barricade, you could lift it up, a child could lift that up.
Yeah.
And unhook it.
Yes, yeah. No, for the most part, what I saw that day was people that were proud to be there, patriots, courteous, friendly. Everybody was in a good mood, and it was nice to see.
It was beautiful too,
Yeah.
with all the color, you know, all the flags and everything. It was quite beautiful
Yes.
spectacle. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
You know, there was this whole inside-outside story that we keep hearing about, you know, what happened inside. And the media only will cover these 1 or 2 incidents inside, nothing about outside. But the girl was shot. I don't know if you remember this, but we were down on the other side, on the Supreme Court side. The girl was shot right after the crowd sang the Star Spangled Banner. And it was just such a beautiful rendition, the whole place. And I think that was the go order. Like, we can't let this be like a Woodstock, a love-in. You know, that can't be the
Right,
story.
right.
You know, and then the shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting some texts from people back in Colorado, and they're sure that a cop was shot. back there.
Geez, you know what this reminds me of is sort of. I can only think of the Saigon. You're not old enough. Saigon.
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're older than me. Yeah. Saigon. You remember when they shot the 2 or 3 Viet Cong that were getting into the embassy?
Yeah.
When Henry Kissinger was ready to pull out, he sends those 3 or 4 in there for the Tet Offensive, and they drug 3 bodies out. And then there's Dan Rather on the street there saying, well, I guess this shows that what General Westmoreland's telling us about winning is not true. And it was just one of those Henry Kissinger moments where it's, okay, guys, now it's time to pull out. We did a deal with the Russian oil company for the oil offshore. It's time to pull out, pull the plug.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be what was happening. It just seemed like this is too much of a love-in. Everyone's described that, of just everyone singing, and I just didn't see any of the violence that people are talking about. Trump, it doesn't know what happened because Trump's talking about violence. If Trump would have been there, he would have known that it was like a Woodstock without rain,
Yeah.
Woodstock without mud, and everyone is a lot older.
Yes. Well, they had been to Woodstock.
They had been to Woodstock. These people were coming back to Woodstock. And are you going to grace us with a song a little bit later this week?
I'd love to.
Can you do a little? Can I ask you to do a little Comey? Come on. Now tell us how the song goes.
Well, I'll start out on let's maybe I can handle the first verse. It goes to the tune of "Give Me a Ticket for an Aeroplane"
Yeah.
by the Box Tops, and it starts out, "Give me a ticket for Guantanamo. Trump's gonna win, and I'm bound to go. Tallest man in prison, tribunal sentence given. Somebody, please write me a letter."
Yeah. Well, here you go. Somebody just happens to have a guitar right here. Maybe somebody else could get a second guitar.
Oh, you're not gonna do that to me.
Come on. Oh, move over. Move on over.
Well, the truth is, I don't have those lyrics memorized, so somebody else is gonna have to bring them.
Somebody bring him the lyrics. Oh, yeah, we've got it right here, everybody. Here we go. Give me a ticket to Guantanamo. I'll sing it. Trump's gonna win, and I gotta go. Tallest man in prison, tribunal sentence given. Somebody write me a letter. There you go. You take it.
America's top cop, and I'm bound to lie. I put a stain on the FBI. I'm political royalty. I serve a higher loyalty. Somebody, please
Just
write me a letter. Well, I'm telling you, they love me on The View, and why wouldn't they? I'm lovable and cute, and I'd never prosecute. Don't lock me away.
Any day.
I protected Hillary, but she's mad as hell. She's got a reservation in the Gray Bar Hotel. We are cooked as gooses, all our necks in nooses. Somebody, please
Just write me a letter.
You know me, I've got the proof. I take notes like a super sleuth. McCabe and Clapper scandal doesn't hold a candle.
Somebody, just write me a letter.
Well, Brennan used the hammer and it got us in the slammer. What am I to care? I didn't see a crime. Don't call me a piece of slime. It just ain't fair. Anyway,
Oh, give me a ticket to Guantanamo. I hear the marshals coming and I gotta go. Stripes we'll be wearing, oh, the beats on the glaring. Somebody, just write me a letter. I'm so lonely, just write me a letter. Bam! Applause, 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 applause. When the performer performs, you got to give them the applesauce. I've learned that over time. Todd, thank you very much for joining us today.
thank you, George.
Yeah. So, John, this is the type of thing that one of our contributors named Wes talks about, which is Americans dynamically form teams They just know how to do it. I don't know if we went to a lot of entrepreneurial seminars or something where other people don't, but people, if they need to grab a guitar and do accompaniment and you need a McDuff, you get a McDuff.
Yeah, and I learned a new song.
Well, that's it for the show. Now you can close up.
Well, all right, George, and thanks so much to Andy Dubala and to Todd for filling in here a little bit with George. And I was just fascinated with your conversation with both of these guys. And I thank Todd for documenting, as we really need to do. One point I'll make, and that is you mentioned things like the colorful flags. If you look through the videos, you know, you might once see a Confederate flag somewhere, but this is not about Confederate flags. That is a distraction. I can imagine they paid somebody $50 to stand around with a Confederate flag, and you can see that if you look at enough videos. You'll see this one kind of downtrodden looking guy walking around aimlessly with a Confederate flag in his hand, and I just think, well, what does he have to do with this? This is not about Confederacy at all. But the media wants to make it all about, you know, race. You know, they're going to try to make it a race war, and it's not. This is about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the preservation of the freedoms that are guaranteed to us by our Constitution. And there's no way that we're going to concede that.
Absolutely. I couldn't add a better word. Thank you, John, for inviting me. This has been a truly great pleasure. We're broadcasting all week here, and we may go another 3 days because you're so good.
Well, I'll be with you.
All right. Done.
Thanks, guys.